Hi, I am John from Just Whiskey. If you like today's show like I think you're going to, then please give it a thumbs up, like and subscribe, and consider becoming a Patreon with the link in the description below. And thanks so much for the Patreons that I do have that help support this channel. Much appreciated. And what do you get for becoming a Patreon? You get access to exclusive Patreon reviews that I don't release to the public. So I do like one or two a month, and they're more of a relaxed kind of a vibe that I do with those, kind of chilling out a little bit. So if that interests you, then consider becoming a Patreon. And remember, folks, it's just whiskey. So I've had requests for a Talisker rundown. So this is a re-review of the brand new Diageo Talisker Special Release 2023. I've made some way in the bottle here, and I've had several drams, and so I'm going to review that, and then we're going to compare and contrast with the last 2 years of special releases, and talk a little bit about the Lefroy Cartius as well. And also, as a quick reminder, don't forget to vote for the online Scotch Whisky Awards, OSWA, okay, oswa.co.uk. The deadline to vote is October 22nd. Today is Friday, October 13th. Friday the 13th. So 9 days left to vote in either 8 or 9 categories. It slips my mind, but they're all Scotch. Most of them are Scotch related, with some world whiskies in there. You can vote, but each category you can do a viewer's choice. So you can vote for whatever you want, and then there's no corporate sponsoring in any of it, and it is very democratic, and it's basically the whiskey enthusiasts' outcome, really. And so if you want to get involved with that, which I am, highly encouraged doing that. Okay. So let's start with the re-review, because I did a bottle opening when I first got this less than a week ago. Okay, so I gave my first impressions of it. Now I feel I've gotten to know it pretty good, and so here we go. So the Talisker 2023 Diageo Special Release comes in, they call it natural cask strength. So they don't mention whether it's chill filtered or any color, but they're calling it natural cask strength. 59.7%, finished in combination of ruby, white, and tawny port casks. All right, on the nose, you're getting peat, a little bit of vanilla, candied fruits, candy cigarettes, a little bit of that chalkiness. There's a slight burnt note in here, maybe even a burnt popcorn note, okay? A little bit of vegetalness, a little vegetal in there. Okay. I really enjoy this, by the way. There's a lot going on in the palate. Sweet, phenolic, peat, a little bit of funk in there too. That burnt note. It's also a bit oaky. Okay, so some people might even want to call that a bit woody. Okay, there's a little bit of that going on in there. So if you don't like something that's I'm not calling this over oaked, but if you're sensitive to, quote, an over oaked or a woodiness, that might be a turn off for you. It doesn't bother me. It is intense. But that's tonight. A couple nights ago, I had a great time with this, and that woodiness, I really wasn't as sensitive to it as I am tonight. But it is there. Also on the palate, there's some grapefruit, raisin, cocoa, and some sweet wine notes that apples and oranges reminds me a little bit of the Lefroy, the most recent Lefroy Carchus, which is finished in white port and Madeira casks. Which, by the way, I really enjoy this Lefroy Carchus. It's almost empty. I probably will replace it. Yeah. All right. Let's get back to the Talisker. So the finish is a bit oaky, woody, that strong trademark Talisker pepper, black pepper is definitely there. The finish is medium on it, and it ends up being a dry finish, probably because of the tannins from the wine casks. Okay, translate into that finish. I'm just speculating that maybe there's some recharred casks in here or some European oak in here, which gives you that extra spiciness. Okay, that's just my opinion. Score-wise, I'm really enjoying this, and I'm going to score it a solid 88. And if that woodiness, oakiness was a little bit less, I would probably go an 89 on it. But tonight, again, it's more apparent than it was a couple other days ago. But I'm really enjoying my journey with this, and I find like I keep gravitating towards it. I don't think this bottle will last a long time. And price-wise, it was $125. Now, it's a non-age stated, okay, so we don't know, but I'm guessing, like I alluded to in the first video of this, I'm guessing there's some younger and older stock in this, because Talisker is not afraid of putting a younger age statement on it. So I have a feeling there's some younger in here, and I have a feeling there's some probably a little bit older than 10 years that's in here. Hence, they don't want to put an age statement on it. So this was $125. Last year's Talisker, 11-year-old, 2022 special release, was $125. Yes, it has an 11-year-old age statement on it. But, kind of, sort of, right? The price really hasn't increased, even though there's no age statement on this. And then the year before that, in 2021, the 8-year, that was $105, which was between $105 and $115. So I forget. You can look at I reviewed this. I'm reviewing this. I reviewed the Carchus. The only thing new in the table here that I haven't reviewed, which we're going to talk about, is the Talisker 57 North, which was discontinued years ago, and that comes in at 57% ABV. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about quickly the Talisker 11 from last year. That was matured in first fill ex-bourbon, and the 2022 11-year-old came in at 55.1%, and they touted this as being a lightly peated version. And And then the Talisker 8-year-old from 2021, that came in at 59.7% ABV, and they touted that as being the smokiest Talisker at the time. But I didn't really think it was, to be honest with you. And then the Talisker 57 North, which was discontinued years ago, which is a crowd favorite. Talisker touts this as a pure Talisker. Okay, so I voted the Talisker 10 as my peated whiskey of the year last year. So I hold that in high regard. In my opinion, the Talisker 57 is a younger version of the Talisker 10, but kind of its bigger brother in that it's 57% ABV. So it has more oomph, but a little less maturity. So like an immature younger brother or whatever. Okay. So kind of everyone wants to know, like, okay, what's my favorite? Well, there might not be a winner in the conventional sense, in that I'm a Talisker fanboy and these are my children and you can't pick your favorite child, right? But we're going to come to some kind of conclusion in a little bit here. Okay, so the Talisker 57, I agree, it is a pure Talisker. It's a younger version of the Talisker 10 with a little bit, more oomph, but a little less maturity. So look at my past reviews for Talisker 10. If you've tried Talisker 10, that's pretty much what it is. It's an immature, well, I shouldn't say immature, an fully matured Talisker 10 with more oomph. So this really is at what they claim it to be. It's Talisker in its purest form. Hopefully they'll bring this back, but I have a feeling they won't. Let me have a sip of water. Now we're going to go to Talisker 11-year Special Release 2022. Okay, so this is first fill ex-bourbon, lightly peated stock. And so you're getting that creamy vanilla in the nose. You can just smell it, right? It's a beautiful whiskey. I think that first fill helps, well, not helps, but it lessens the impact of that Talisker bite, that aggressive black pepper. It's definitely there. This is a beautiful whiskey, and again, I've reviewed it. But you're looking at, really, first fill, more heavily vanillaed, less peat. But very nice. Very nice. Probably, out of everything here, it's probably the least aggressive, okay, even though we're talking cask strength here. All right, and then the Talisker 8-year-old from 2021 was touted as the smokiest. On the nose and the palate, this kind of reminds me of Toreveg. The Alt Glown, and then their first release, kind of like that, maybe with a little bit of Kilhoman Makia Bay in there, and maybe even a little bit of young Lagavulin, like Lagavulin 8-year-old. So yeah, you're getting a young, immature 8-year-old cask strength, which in my opinion is probably the purest form of Talisker in a way. Okay. And it's also, out of all these too, color wise, coincidentally, right, the Talisker 8 is very, very light in color, and then the 11-year-old is a little bit more color. The Talisker 57, a little bit more color, and then the newest Talisker is quite dark in comparison to the rest of them. So yeah, that Talisker 8, you're getting like some of the young melon, peach, apricot, raw fruits, stewed fruits, kind of a thing. Very nice. All right. I've gone on for quite a while here. In summation, here's kind of what I think. Again, so 57 North is really out of the question because it's been discontinued years ago. But I put it here for a reason, because it's 57% ABV. It might not be cask strength, but it's pretty damn close to it. I think this is Talisker in its purest form in the 57 North. So we'll take that out. Now for special releases, what do we have left here? I think, for favorites, go-tos, or whatever, I think I can kind of push aside the 8-year. I enjoy it. It's more of a curiosity. This 11-year from 2022 is very nice, very well-rounded, very enjoyable. But both of these are my original bottles that I reviewed, and there's still a decent amount in them. So I'm not, every now and then out of curiosity, I go back to them. I enjoy the 11 more than the 8. Okay. Yeah, I've said enough about the Talisker 57. And so, but this new one, the Talisker 2023 Special Release, I already know this bottle's not going to last long. I'm just drawn to it. I'm very intrigued by it. So if I had to pick a favorite child so far, right, out of special releases, it probably would be this newest one. Albeit it's some days different than others, but it's got a little bit more oakiness on it than any of the other ones. But I also, it reminds me of this Carchus, the recent Carchus by Lefroy. It has a hint of that, okay? And so I really do like a Madeira white port kind of a finish. I really do. And what I've experimented with too, now we're going off track a little bit, but at some point I've already opened this, the Lefroy 10 cask strength batch 16, okay? It's ballsy. It's oh my God. ballsy and it's punchy and it's aggressive. But what I've been doing is playing around with putting some Madeira wine into just a little bit into this, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm getting kind of close to what the Carchus over here did with Lafroig. I know we're going off tangent a little bit, but so we're going to call this the Talisker Run Through Special Releases with the bonus of the Talisker 57, and this is going to be part 2. So there will be a part 3 of a Talisker rundown as well. We still have some tricks up my sleeve. Before I just want to quickly sum up. If I saw the new Talisker at or around the $125 mark, I would probably pick up a backup bottle for myself. That's how intrigued I am by it, and I am very much enjoying it. People beat up on Diageo price-wise. I understand it, and but I'm not a Diageo hater. But just prices in general are getting crazy, and like I alluded to earlier in one of my news shows, I've seen in one of the stores that I visit, the Talisker 10 is now $100, which it just blows my mind because almost everywhere else it's $50 to $60 right now. But there's some independent bottlings coming out. One in particular that's by Blackadder. It's a Lechaig 11-year-old single cask. Okay, so you will pay a little bit more of a premium for a single cask, but in one of the stores that I patronize, the Lechaig Blackadder Lechaig 11-year-old single cask strength is retailing for well over $200, something like $210 or $220 for 11-year-old Lechaig. So that makes this new Talisker NAS at $125 seem like a relative bargain. But in general, I just see prices are getting just crazy out there with everything. The brand new Ardbeg, I can't even pronounce it. I talked about it in one of my previous news events. It begins with, it's Ardner Pneumorphosis or whatever the hell it is. It's $220 for 48.6% ABV, I believe. It's got some wacky name, and on the label it has like this maze puzzle kind of a thing with all these little caricatures like kind of drawn into it. So, it is what it is, right? Anyway, I've gone on at quite length here. You already know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be pouring all these Taliskers into one glass and enjoying them and see what happens. So if you enjoyed this show, please give it a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. And consider becoming a Patreon with a link in the description below. And remember, folks, it's just whiskey, and vote for the Oswas. Hats off to you all, and take care.